Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, that means you made it to 2023. Wishing you all nothing but the best in the upcoming new year. Today we're reviewing Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 5, Episode 12, Backlash. So we open up the episode where we left off where Calvin was beating Q's ass with the golf club. Basically, what he's trying to do now is get Sabrina to get her phone out and start recording Q so that he can confess on camera. And Q basically started laughing in Calvin's face. And Calvin decided he got mad about it and started beating his ass some more. Sabrina went to hollering and screaming and trying to save Q, like, get out, Q, get out, get up, Q, get out, all this back and forth. Q is like, I'm trying. So she's still hollering, trying to hold Calvin back. So Q gets up and he looks at them and he's like, this is not over. I'll be back. Basically letting them know he coming back for that ass. Like, y'all ain't gonna get away with this. He told Sabrina, I got you, bitch. She said, F you. He said, F you back. Calvin was like, you better get out of here before I beat your ass again. And I'm like, again, all the while he's saying all this, he got Sabrina all in the front of him as a little shield child. So Q was like, you got lucky, light skin. You got lucky. So we'll see what happens with that, because Q just ends up leaving without incident. Those two, they go to the kitchen. Calvin trying to act like he's so mad and so all hyped up and all this. Sabrina, she out of breath, nervous and scared and panting and huffing and puffing. And Calvin was like, well, you should have never let him leave. And Sabrina was like, he wasn't going to tell the truth. No way. I mean, even if you got a confession, you cannot use it because he was under duress. So there was no need to do all of that, basically. So Calvin was like, he had to think about it like, she's right. So the two of them make sure each other was okay, and they basically just comfort each other. So we go back over there to the doctor's office with Karen, where we have been waiting for 2 weeks. Tyler been playing in our face for 2 weeks to hear who Karen claims is the baby daddy. So Danny and Andy, they're sitting there looking at Karen like, girl, are you going to tell us who the baby daddy is or what? She's sitting in there, all we hear is crickets. Sitting up there looking all crazy in the face like girl, we waiting. Like, what's up? Danny get tired of waiting, so she pulls her phone out. She's like, let me look at my calendar because, I don't forget shit. So I got it all up in my memory. I know what time it is. So I guess, Karen got all a little nervous. I'm just playing, but I feel like Karen got all nervous about Danny going through her dates or whatever. So she decided, oh, it's Zach's baby. So both of them, Danny and Andy, they look at her like, girl, are you sure? They looking at her like, I don't know. And she was like, yeah, I'm sure. So she's going to tell Andy. So you can go and tell your little friend that. Like, hold up, Karen. Why are you worried about Andy telling Fatima anything? When you just found out a date, you should be over there doing cartwheels. Why are you worried about Andy going to tell Fatima? Fatima will find out when it's time for her to find out. And at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be mad because the baby got to go over there and be with Fatima and the daddy. So, why you want Andy to go tell her? That's why you said that. Like, girl, I thought we were moving on. That's what you said, that we were going to move on. And another thing, just because you throw a date out there and put Zach's name on a particular date you want it to be on, okay, fine. Whether it's his baby or not, I really don't give a damn. I really don't. But my thing is, when the baby is born, girl, we want a blood test. We want an actual blood test. We're not doing any more swabs, sending them to the work labs and all of that. We need a blood test to confirm 100% the paternity. We're not going by this little date stuff that y'all think we boo-boo the fool and just go with anything. No, ma'am. So Danny says, are you sure? Because there was that little 7-day window where you was over there hunching like 90 going north. And she was like, I always knew it was Zach's baby. So Andy tells her, are you going to tell him? She was like, oh, well, I'm going back to the salon and I'm going to think about it. What is there to think about? I'm confused that what you just going to not tell him? You got to say something. You've been worried about him knowing and throwing it on him all this time. Now you got to think about it. Girls, don't play with us. Do not play with us. We don't have time for that. So Andy suggests that all the girls get together at her house later that night to discuss this little newfound information they just heard about. So we head back over there to Calvin and Sabrina, and they're sitting on the sofa having this conversation, which seems to me like it's moving in slow motion for some odd reason. And they're reflecting on the events with Q, and she's thanking him in a sense of for protecting her, I guess. I don't know. She told him that Danny told her about the money he was willing to give up, and he said that Danny never called him to get the money. And I want to know, if Danny never called you at all, how did you know Sabrina was out of jail to be calling her phone in the last episode? I didn't understand that. So they get to talking about Maurice and how, they're sad that he's there and feeling down and bad about it, and how they told him not to mess with Q, and they know he's probably feeling down and taking it hard and being hard on himself and all this and that. Sabrina says that she's going to go to Andy to see if Andy can help get Maurice out of jail. So I'm like, girl, you barely got out of jail. Your bond was like $3 million. So do you think that Andy has an additional $3 million to get Maurice out of jail, which is not her friend? Do she even know Maurice like that? I don't think so. I don't have 1.5 million, and I ain't finna go borrow 1.5 from nobody else to get your friend out of jail. Now, do I want Maurice out of jail? Yes, I do. But I'm just talking about the audacity of it all for you to go ask somebody to get somebody out of jail with that kind of money when you barely got out of jail. But hey, it is what it is, child. Whatever, do your thing. So I think Calvin was trying to get him a little something because he went to talking about he liked her natural hair, and she's still upset because they cut it and it wasn't her choice. He told her he understood all of that. So, she basically told him she was getting ready to go, and he seemed like he got a little attitude like, where you going? And she was like, I just need to go get some rest, but I got some things I need to take care of first. And she ended up leaving or whatever. And he seemed like to me like he wanted her to stay. I think Calvin was trying to get some. What y'all think? So we head over there to Fatima's job, and Zach pops up, says he wants to talk to her about what the child support lawyer said, and let Fatima know that she was right about what she said. That he needs to have a talk with Karen and Heather to set something up, just in case, for one, Karen's baby is indeed his, and that way she doesn't come after him extra, so they want to just go ahead and establish a plan ahead of time. Fatima says she was cool with that, so Zach thought, I don't know why, he was getting ready to go over to the salon to talk to Karen. Fatima was like, no ma'am, you're going to come, she can come over to the house, and we all can have a seat and sit down and talk. He's like, all right, cool. And what about Heather? The same thing applies to Heather. It's not like Heather hasn't been to the house before. So Heather needs to come and have a seat with the little boy so all y'all can talk. I mean, Heather's been over there when Fatima persuaded her to come over there to get that DNA. So come on now, stop acting like Heather ain't been to y'all house. So everybody needs to come to the house when it's time to talk. So that is what it is. So Zach says, thank you. And Fatima is like, for what? And he does this a lot. He's like, for being so solid and cool and understanding. Basically, dealing with all of his baby mama drama. And Fatima was like, well, until you give me a reason to lose my shit, then, this is just who I am. And I could have sworn we saw Fatima lose her shit a couple of times. But hey, it is what it is. I sure hate to see when she lose it. And it just seems like when you dealing with the likes of a Karen and Heather, Fatima will end up losing her shit. And Zach knows too, while he keeps always constantly saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for putting up with my shit. He won't deal with the same stuff that Fatima is choosing to deal with because she chose to stay with him knowing all of this was going on. So Fatima is basically letting Zach know, do not take my kindness for a weakness. So Fatima tells him, just let me know what they say. And Zach starts acting like, oh, I gotta go make this phone call. So Fatima was like, look, you want me to call them? Because, I damn sure will do that. I will call them. She wasn't saying it like that, but that's just me. So he says, if you call them, they will hang up on you so fast. Fatima was like, I could be very persuasive. Zach says, we don't need your kind of persuasion with all your guns, knives, fists, blood, and death. And I'm like, hell, some of these hoes need that kind of stuff in order for them to understand what the hell going on. But hey, it is what it is. Zach says, this situation needs a little gentle touch. And Fatima was like, gentle, give him that look. And he was like, oh, they won't get touched by me, because, every time I touch somebody gently, they end up pregnant. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, like, well, you slept with Heather one time in the VIP room, and then you hunched Karen in the salon on the wall one good time and barely got your rocks off because it seemed like you didn't even finish. And both of these heifers claim that you are their baby daddy. But you over there making mad, steamy, hot, passionate sex with Fatima and she ain't pregnant yet. Make that make sense. Fatima tells Zach, go ahead and make the calls to Karen and Heather because the sooner the better. Because Hayden was on their ass. And next thing we know, Hayden, he's standing in her doorway. He's like, oh, did I hear my name? They start calling him all kind of trolls and leprechauns and all of that, clowning his behind. And he was like, I got a restraining order, right? So him and Fatima going back and forth about, why are you in my office? Why are you here? Get out, all this back and forth. And he was like, well, I saw your little boyfriend come in and basically he's going to save me some money. And he officially subpoenaed Zach to show up for child support court. And he told Zach, look, you could take it or not take it, but I have several witnesses show that you were subpoenaed. And all the while he's doing that, Zach, with his crazy ass, clowning, hating about his breath, saying how stank it is. Hayden didn't pay him any attention. He basically left out of the office and told him, I'll see you in court. So Zach, still being silly, he was like, I'm not taking that. And Fatima being serious about the shit, like, you need to take it. You need to take this serious because this is a real thing. He going on and on. Oh, if I take that, that means he was one. And I'm like, Zach, stop for one time. Think about what's going on. Stop being childish and immature. Take the damn subpoena and open it and first of all, read it. And Fatima told him, look, take that and take it to your lawyer. And he, I guess, got it in his thick skull that that's what he needed to do. So Andy comes into the office and, everyone greets each other. And to me, Zach act like he forgot that Fatima was at work. He's still trying to kiss her, and Fatima was like, no, Andy's standing there. That's my boss. And he's like, well, this is your office. And I'm like, Zach, please leave. The girl trying to work. Andy was looking at, and that's how Andy came in to me like, excuse me, like this is a place of business and y'all been in here frolicking around for a long time. Like, you need to get back to work type of energy. That's how she walked in there to me. That's how I took it. Like, let's get back to work. So Zach makes this comment about, I can't touch you or something because you might end up pregnant. And Andy was like, well, what that was supposed to mean? And I thought that was funny, being that she just came from the doctor's office with Karen and knowing that he is let's take that back. Knowing that that's who Karen said was the baby's daddy. So she was like, well, what was that all about? And she was like, girl, it was just a lot going on. So Fatima gives Andy a rundown of her little work schedule, and Andy was quite impressed, with how Fatima handles things. So I'm like, give my girl a raise. You got money to blow over there bailing people out of jail. Give my girl that raise, child. And, Fatima was like popping her collar like, yes, I got this. So Andy wants to know if Robin is in the office. And she was like, yes. So Andy goes into Robin's office and he was like, well, how did it go? She tells him that Sabrina did get out. So he says, are you sure she's not going to run? And once again, she reassures him that she's not going to run. Robin tells her, look, I'm counting on you. And Andy says, you can count on me. So something tells me, because we keep having this conversation, that something is going to happen to where Sabrina does not show up. And Robin is letting it be known to Andy now. You are going to be the one that I hold accountable when she doesn't show up. Because he said it over and over. I'm holding you to your word. I'm counting on you. And each time, Andy was like, you can count on me. You got my word, this and that and the other. So when something pops off and goes wrong, Robin is going to blame Andy for everything, and it just might get ugly. So Andy, she sits down and Robin attempts to apologize to her once again, saying that he apologized. He know he was an asshole before, but he thought that she was used to it considering who she was seeing. And I'm like, look, you were doing fine until you got to that point. You did not have to add that last little part. Like, you thought she was used to it. So, like, if you thought she was used to getting her ass beat, you gonna beat her ass? Like, what are you talking about? That's stupid. So then he says, I'm sorry again, and says that he's in a pissy mood. So she was like, yeah, I can see that. So he goes to tell her all about the company and how he took out all this money, put up so much leverage for the company or whatever. And basically they're trying to buy him out, and he needs $14 million. So Robin tells Andy that's why he's been so stressed out. And now he's down another $1 million, which it really should be $1.5 million, because he had to help Sabrina get out of jail. And she apologizes. He was like, well, it doesn't matter, because if I can't come up with the 14, what's a million gonna do, right? So he says that he's shocked that they, came trying to force him out so soon. And basically he knows that it's Gary and Hayden. And now all of a sudden he starts asking Andy, does she know anything about it? What has she heard? And Andy, playing like she could win her a goddamn Oscar, says she hasn't heard anything. She doesn't know anything about it. And Robin is like, come on, And she's like, no, I don't. And she apologizes. And I'm like, Andy, you good, girl. I said, you just kept that straight face like you really didn't know. And he was like, oh, Gary's so slick and smart. That's why he's been so happy lately, letting him come up to the apartment and all of that. So how many of you guys would have told Robin the truth that Gary was actually trying to take over his company? So this whole thing with Robin and Gary, I'm really got my good eye on the two of them, because to me it seems like they are working behind the scenes in cahoots with each other. I don't know if they scheming and scamming, trying to set Andy up maybe to keep her $1.5 million. I don't know what they got going on, but something is fishy with Robin and Gary. Hopefully it's nothing, but that's what the vibe is giving me, that the two of them got something going on, like trying to scam somebody or possibly set Andy up. But I don't know what the end game would be to run game on Andy. I don't see what the whole point would that be. So Andy tells Robin that she knows someone that can help him get the money, but it's going to be a lot of interest and he may get a limb or two broken. And Robin was like, are you trying to get me killed? And she was like, no, it's an old client of mine that I repped in a divorce case. Even his wife was scared to spend money. So basically he's a loan shark. And, she was like, well, I'm just trying to help you the way you've been helping me. So he basically told her that it was all worth it, basically helping her. And, he just, if he loses his company, he doesn't care because he has other businesses going on. Andy goes into this whole thing about how she doesn't want to be made to look like no prize and she's not a game and this and that and the other. So if somebody can explain to me what did I miss, because I kind of watched it twice, but I didn't get why she thought that he was treating her like a prize. All he said that it was worth helping her. I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but I feel like Gary treats her way worse than Robin does, and she has nothing to say to him. So I was done with that. So Andy asked Robin, does he want the guy's number? And he says, I'll think about it. So she tells him, I don't want you to lose the place. And he says, thank you. So she then tells him he needs to fight it. And he smiles and she smiles. And then she leaves. And then you have certain moments with Robin where I feel like he really likes Andy. But then it's still that whole Gary thing that makes me think that he's up to something. But I kind of want him to be on the up and up, but I just don't know. So we see Karen, she makes it to the salon and she's all happy-go-lucky. And she sees Pam and Pam, greets her with that hand. She always talking with her hands. So she basically told her she just left the doctor, so she's able to start back working and basically to get her booked and busy, for as much as she can take. So Pam's going to get that started. She asked her if Aaron has made it there yet, and he had not. But as she goes into the back, Aaron comes in the door, and of course, Pam and Aaron go have their little banter back and forth, and she tells the man he a little puppy dog because every time Karen says something, he comes a running. Aaron had to let her know, he's not ashamed, that he cares about her well-being, basically. So Pam basically was like, well, where can I get one of you, Mr. Rescue type? And, he smiles or whatever and goes in the back. Everybody know Pam crazy. So Fatima calls Madam and asks her to send her the baddest gold-digging bitch that she can find. And the whole point of that is she wants her to come down to the office, make sure she asks for Hayden, and get to know him basically, and take everything that he's got. So Aaron, he gets in the back and sits down with Karen, and she has that look on her face. So he was like, oh, so this must be serious. And basically says that, oh, is it Zach's baby? And she confirms that, yes, it is. He asks her, is she sure? She tells him that the doctor said it wasn't 100%, but whatever. So he says he's a little disappointed about it, but as we already know, Aaron told us out of his own mouth, no matter who is the father, he wasn't going anywhere. So it is what it is. And that's why I didn't give a damn who the baby belonged to, because Aaron wasn't going nowhere and Zach don't want to be bothered no goddamn way. So, hey, it all works out. So anyway, he basically asked Karen, how can he support her? And she's like, oh, you're just too good. And he was like, no, that's just how I am. So she got her a little good man. She need to hold on to Aaron. Hold on to him, girl. So as Aaron and Karen finish up their dinner or lunch or whatever they're having, and he asked her, when does she plan on talking to Zach? And she was like, she's going to get with the girls and talk about it and see what they come up with. And she asked Aaron, how did he feel about it? He told her, as long as she could stay calm and stay focused, she'll be all right. So Pam comes in, says that Sabrina's here. She told him, just go ahead and let her in. So she goes to Aaron and was like, well, am I going to see you tonight? And he was like, for sure. So she tries to make sure that he is okay. And he was like, we're good. We're straight. What's not to love about a baby that's coming through you? And, you could see Karen's little heart melt real quick. So as Sabrina's coming in, Pam is coming in behind her, and it looked like to me that Sabrina was trying to close the door on Pam, but Pam wormed her way through that anyway. And I'm trying to figure out what made Pam come stand in the conversation. Like, Pam, aren't you at work? Like, what? what are you supposed to be doing? So Sabrina sit down, and she was pulling one of these Karen moves the whole episode with this little face, look on her face the whole time. And she goes into all this. Basically, the bottom line, she went there to get her hair done because she felt some kind of way. She wanted her hair the way it looked before she went to jail. And she was really upset because, again, it was not her choice to wear her natural hair. She wasn't given that choice. Pam interjects and she was like, well, I like your natural hair. So Karen had to tell her to go to work. Like, girl, nobody's talking to you, Pam. Like, just go to work, hon. So Karen asks Sabrina how Maurice was, and she says that he's still in jail. She tells her that Calvin had to beat Q's ass because he won't leave the apartment, and, after doing all that crazy mess. Karen tells her, I'm sorry all this is happening to you, and Sabrina says, I'm going to be okay. She's like, yes, you are. So she goes and tells her, go ahead and get your hair so she can do her hair. And, they stand up. She gives her this great big old hug. They have like a good little relationship. So we go back over to the office, and Fatima is going to meet with Tamara. And I thought the instructions was when you get there, ask for Hayden. So to Fatima, why are you talking to her at the job? Like, you can be seen. Like, you don't even know where he is in the office. So what if he see you talking to her? But anyway, she pulls her to the side, and she goes to try to, vet her and look her up and down and see what she's working with and all of that. And Tamara is quite ghetto, and everybody knows, because he says it all the time, that he don't do ghetto. So Fatima had to tell her to pipe the ghetto down, pull that hood back, because he wasn't gonna fall for it. So she was like, whatever do you mean? She like, girl, I can switch this shit up. So Fatima was like, good, I like that. She said, make him fall in love with you. I want you to F him so good that he falls in love, all that, but don't let him know that he's being played. And she was like, girl, I got this. Pipe down, I got this. So basically, she sends her back out there to go to the receptionist. So the receptionist calls Hayden and tells him someone's out front that wants to speak with him. And she says that the lady's name is Tamara. And he was like, well, tell her to make an appointment. I don't do walk-ins. So she says that she'll wait if he's busy. So he was like, all right, I'll be out there. So he gets out there. Once he sees her face, he's like, God damn. Oh, so now he has all the time in the world. But because it's not like he was in the office doing a goddamn thing. So she was like, excuse me? So he was like, oh, hello. So he was like, oh, hey, I'm Hayden. He introduces himself. And she basically was like, well, I'm here to see if you're able to help me with the case of mine. And he was like, we could step into my office and take a look at it. And she says, are you sure? He says, I'm absolutely sure. So then she goes on again to say, I just want to know if I have a case or not. And I'm like, wait a minute. We're not going to start all this repetitive ass dialogue. So they go back and forth. He done said, let's step into my office like 30,000 times. It wasn't that many, but y'all know how it go. And I'm like, girl, just go in the office, because now you didn't end up running your mouth too much, because now she ended up talking about a friend, the recommendation and all that. You wasn't even supposed to say all of that. Like, girl, now he want to know who the hell sent you there. Like, see, you said that you were good at it, and I didn't like that part. I'm like, girl, you should have just walked with him the first time. But anyway, she ends up going with him to the office, and as they're walking, Fatima walks past them, and she's elated because now her plan is in motion. So we go over there to the airport, and Q is hobbling up to the counter to talk to Danny. So she was like, well, what's wrong with you? So he goes into this elaborate lie that him and Jonah got into this big fight, and that Jonah beat him with a baseball bat. But to me, I don't think Danny really was believing what he was saying. He was like, I'll do anything for you. You're a beautiful woman. Let me protect you. Let me walk you to the car and all this and that. And Danny wasn't going for it. She wasn't having none of that. She was like, I got this. Like, do you need help is the question. And he was like, yeah, I do need my car. I'm like, what was the point of the lie? Was he trying to butter her up because he needs somewhere to stay? I'm confused. Like, that was stupid. So Fatima goes into Andy's office to let her know she's leaving for the day. And Andy was like, well, what's the rush? She was like, girl, these shoes are killing me. I got to get out these shoes. So Fatima said, well, I saw you talking to Robin. Is everything straight? And Andy was like, we good. I understand what was going on. And Fatima was like, well, he doesn't have the right to talk to you any kind of way like that. And she was like, well, he did help Sabrina. And Fatima was like, at what cost? So, that shit probably gonna come back up. So she's trying to get out the door, and Andy stops her and like, wait a minute, like something about the tan line on her finger. And Fatima's like, what? Like, and then she's like, what? Sit your ass down, like you tried it. I said, wait a minute. I said, hold up. This is not realistic, because first of all, if Fatima don't wear her ring to work or to the gym, barely probably wearing it at home, how she get a tan line? They haven't been engaged but damn near 2 seconds. So how she got a damn tan line on her ring finger? That's stupid. And even if she did have a tan line on her ring finger, how does that equate to her being not putting on a engagement ring. That doesn't even make sense. I could have on any kind of ring. And there's other rings. People wear rings on their ring finger that's not necessarily married or engaged. So that's stupid. And Andy, number two, Andy is not even that type to be strategically trying to figure some shit out that you can't see shit Gary doing, but you trying to tell me you could see a damn tan line on a finger, and that means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Y'all could have had Andy find out a different kind of way, because the way y'all tried to throw that up for her to find out about the ring is stupid as hell. That shit is dumb as hell. And it's not that good. And the fact that Fatima had the ring 2 minutes, no, we're not going. The shit was stupid as hell. So the prosecutor, he goes back in to talk to Maurice. And Maurice is like, why are you even talking to me? Why are you here? And he's like, well, I wanted to see if you changed your mind. And he was like, well, they go back and forth about, you not supposed to be talking to me until I get my lawyer. And he was like, you should already have one. I've been waiting. I don't see one appointed to you yet. So they going back and forth, and he still wants him to name Sabrina. And he tells Maurice, like, well, she fingered you. And he was like, well, I've been fingered a time or two, but never by a woman. And the prosecutor was like, well, let's not get vulgar. And Maurice was like, bitch, don't try to act like you ain't never been fingered. Oh, my God. So the bottom line is this mofo went in there and lied to Maurice. Well, he did tell him that Sabrina is out of jail, which that's not a lie. But he lied and said that Sabrina told on him. And he's pushing this piece of paper for him to sign and told him, look, if you sign this, you'll be out in an hour. When he told him an hour, Maurice got this little look in his face like, ooh, an hour, like, ooh. Like that sounded so good to him. So he hands him a pen. He pushes the paper up to him. And Maurice looking like he's going to think about it. And the episode ends there. Do you guys think that Maurice will sign the paperwork so he can get out within the next hour by telling on Sabrina? And also, should Andy have told Robin the truth about Gary and the paperwork that she found in his jacket pocket? Let me know what you guys think. Drop down in the comments with your opinion, thoughts, or theories. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.